Hello YouTube, and welcome again to my channel. When somebody leaves Jehovah's Witnesses, people who remain as Jehovah's Witnesses are oftentimes very concerned about the individual that leaves. In the view of Jehovah's Witnesses, there is no other possible way to live your life and be happy other than to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Therefore, their main concern is to get people that stop going to the meetings to go back to the meetings, since that's the only possible way you can live a happy, fulfilling life, and it's the only possible way that you can be serving God. So recently, I have had the opportunity to read a card that was written to somebody that stopped attending meetings, and I find it very interesting that this loving, encouraging card sent by a loving, encouraging person is very insightful to the mind of Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not going to read the whole card, but I'm going to share some excerpts, and I'm going to break down the thought patterns for you. So this card that's supposed to encourage someone to come back and to let them know how much they're loved has phrases like this in it. It says, "Think of the fallen angels. How did they benefit?" So let's think about that sentence. This person is basically saying that when you stop going to the Kingdom Hall, it is basically as if you are becoming a demon. That's the comparison here. Fallen angels became demons. So they're basically comparing the person that stopped going to meetings to someone who is becoming a demon. They follow up with, what future do they have? So again, you're throwing your lot in with the demons if you leave the Kingdom Hall. Next question. Think of how this pained Jehovah and Jesus. So stopping attending meetings of Jehovah's Witnesses is personally hurting Jehovah and Jesus. So it continues, thankfully Jehovah didn't give up on his plan. So the implication here is that Jehovah could have been hurt so much by the fact that some of his spiritual family left him that he would have just given up and walked away on the entire universe. So one person apparently has the power to make Jehovah so upset that he might walk away on the entire universe. Well, thankfully that didn't happen, I guess is what's being said there. And it continues, thankfully Jesus didn't listen to his spiritual angelic family who rebelled. So if you have family who leave the watchtower, they too are being compared to being demons. Are you feeling the love yet? Are you feeling the encouragement? Do you think that this would encourage you to want to go back, being compared to becoming a demon? Yeah, well, anyways, let's go on with this warm, loving, encouraging message. It goes on, if we give up, where will we go? Jehovah's Witnesses honestly believe that there's no other possible way to live your life and be happy or have any sort of hope for the future once you leave the Kingdom Hall. And they will use this line, where will we go, which is a misquote of the scripture. I believe it's in John, of to whom shall we go? And that's Jesus, and he's asking the apostles if they're going to leave too. And Peter, I believe it is, says, Lord, you have sayings of everlasting life. To whom shall we go? It's obvious that they're followers of Jesus Christ, not of an organization. So this is one of the most massive misquotes of the scriptures that runs through the very central being of Jehovah's Witnesses. They ask the question, where will you go? Because they think you have to go to an organization, which is in direct conflict of the Bible, which says that you go to Jesus Christ. So anyways, getting back to this letter, what hope will we have? Again, they think that once you stop going to the Kingdom Hall, there's no possibility that you have any hope at all. So if you haven't figured this out yet, these are all signs of a high control group, aka cult. Going on, ask the question, what are we telling Jehovah? So by not going to the Kingdom Hall, you are telling Jehovah that you don't care about him. This is the mindset of Jehovah's Witnesses. And here's the encouraging part that follows in this. You are very strong and faithful. You're strong enough to weather this storm. Jehovah is there for you if you let him. Please don't give up and move on to something that has no lasting value, no future. This is the mindset of Jehovah's Witnesses. The truly indoctrinated Jehovah's Witness believes that if you stop attending meetings of Jehovah's Witnesses, that you have walked away from God and that you have veritably chosen sides with the devil, and they equate you to becoming like one of the demons. At least that's what this card is doing. Now, there's also a number of logical fallacies that are involved with this. Appealing to consequences, for example. So they're appealing to the consequences of you not going to the Kingdom Hall with no real argument to back up that those consequences are even real. There's circular reasoning, assuming that the Watchtower is the only avenue of truth of any sort on the earth. And again, there's no proof offered of that in any of this card. Generally speaking, the type of tactics that are used here are equivalent to what you would find in abusive relationships. And those relationships, to the best of my understanding, and there are those who certainly know more than I do about those, but basically the individual who is the abuser tells their victim that you're not going to get treated any better anywhere else. There's nothing better that you can go to. And this is the message that the Watchtower drills down into their victims so thoroughly that Watchtower victims will say the same thing to people that wake up and that free themselves from the chains of Watchtower enslavement. And these Jehovah's Witnesses who are still under the mind control will view you in an incredibly negative light, and there's no possible good reason that you could have for walking away from the Watchtower. No matter how many facts you present, it does not matter to them. So I just wanted to point out some of the things that were in this card. And ironically, I know the person that wrote this card, and they're not a bad person. They're a caring person, and this is their honest attempt at doing what they think is the right thing. So my point in bringing out some of these statements is that Watchtower's version of love causes people to be horribly abusive. Not because they're bad people, but because they've been trained to be that way by a publishing company that has a track record more than 130 years long of getting every single one of their predictions wrong, and of changing their teachings on a whim, and then of lying about their history. And you can look up their old literature and see what they used to teach, and you can look at their current literature and see that they say that they used to teach something different than they did. That's called lying. And when you watch their morning worship and they refer to their old magazines, they'll refer to them in extremely vague ways, so you can't look up the references. You won't be able to find those magazines in Kingdom Halls, because Kingdom Halls have purged all the old literature that would prove that you are being lied to about what they used to teach. So, all of this reeks cult. And it's a sad thing, but it's so blatantly obvious for those of us who have been there, done that, who used to have that mindset, who are now awake. The scales have fallen from our eyes, and we can see the truth. So this is the truth that's there. I bear no ill will of any sort to the person that wrote this letter. Rather, I have a very deep sympathy for them, because they are being misled, and they are carrying this heavy burden of fear and guilt with them through their life. They are being robbed of every second of their life, where they're under this assumption that they're being told the truth by people that are dishonest. So I just wanted to share that, but that's the mindset of the Jehovah's Witness. I don't blame them. I understand that they've been lied to, they've been fooled, and they're now captive. So that's what's out there. That's why I speak out about the Watchtower. Anyways, thanks for watching.